So this is a piece I've been working on for a while, on and off. And I started with the French knots in the center. And I wanted to experiment with getting height so that it would look like hills. So there's a bottle cap with some padding over the top of it. And then I just kept piling French knots on it. But then it felt like it needed something more. And I think that seems to be my thing lately, is to say something more. So I just started been playing with texture along the outsides. And I was happy to take this off the hoop now because I can really start to see the finishing. It is not going to be square. This is going to be a wall hanging, and I'll tuck the edges under and tack it back so it will get maybe a little bit more of an organic shape. I don't want to look for perfect, but I like the hoop for a while to help me kind of get my edges figured out. And I can tell by looking at this now, I need to add a lot more bullion knots, and that's okay. Lots of drizzle stitches because that gives me some vertical height and another texture to the place. The cheesecloth and the wider holes in the cheesecloth is actually that spooky cloth you often get at Halloween time. So I'm going to take, oh, that's some of that wispy yarn that I absolutely love. And it's perfect to just kind of add that sort of feel of lichen. Off to the right, I've got some sari ribbon. And all I've done is gathered that up and then tacked it down. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that. It makes it kind of look like a big bush to me, or a row of bushes. And it's really simple. The one on the right, the lighter sari ribbon, is wider. This one's very thin, so I'm just going to gather it up with a real random gathering stitch. Don't have to be straight lines or anything. And it's just a great way to add some texture to a piece. I do this with small pieces of sari ribbon too, but if you want to cover a lot of ground, it's really nice to take a longer piece. And then you can tack some beads in there as well. So now to me that just looks like a big bush in the corner. And then you can kind of shape it a little bit once it's down there. You can kind of take your needle and, decide, if you need it to be flatter in some places, pull it together a little bit tighter. So I kind of want that to go up into the French knots. So again, I want to break up any idea of perfection happening there. I'm all about trying to find more ways to add texture to a piece. That really seems to be my happy zone lately. So I am going to try to lean into that a little bit more. Maybe try and do a bunch of samples. Oh, these are the wool slubs, and I absolutely love these. I've got them in lots of colors, and it's a great way to add, again, another organic texture to the piece. You can just kind of pile them on and stitch them down. Some of them are very tiny, so it can be difficult to gather them into stitches, but I like to take my time and kind of string them like beads and really think that it's going to add a little bit of something else to this. I ended up deciding to put some at the top of the piece. So there's a lot of things you can do with the wool slubs, and you can just put them on there individually, or you can kind of string them together like beads, which is what I decided to do, and have some hanging down. Since this is going to be a wall hanging, I like to have some things dangling. And they're basically like felted wool. I don't know what the process is, how they end up with them, but they're doing something and they end up with these little leftover pieces of wool. And so I'm just kind of piling them together in a way that's going to make me happy the way they're hanging down. Now, if you like to use fabric glue, of course you could glue these on, but I'm trying to do all of this by hand stitching, so it's going to take a little bit more time. I really think they've added something a little bit more organic to the piece. What are some of your favorite ways to add texture to a fiber piece? Could do it all with stitch, but I find that I want to get things that are a little bit more three-dimensional and more organic feeling, I guess. Although I'm not sure how organic a bullion knot is. whole idea is to make it rather unbalanced, and whenever I feel like I'm trying to be too balanced, I got to add something else to throw it off. That's the top of my piece, so it's going to kind of flop around if I don't have something really solid behind it. So now I'm thinking maybe I will bunch it up. But that's where I am right now on this piece, and I'll be back when I have some more to add to it.